Hi, I'm Gig Sixsmith. All the characters in my story have been created by mixing animals together using Animix drawing cards. Rainforest Games. Beyond the wild, imagine ocean. Listen hard, you'll hear the commotion. From within the shadows of the rainforest deep, the Animix creatures are stirring from sleep. Thousands of creatures, hidden away, are stretching and yawning and starting their day. Some in the treetops, some on the ground, the morning chorus is beginning to sound. A whistle, a call, a chirp, and a wheeze as the sunlight dances between the tall trees. This balmy forest, with its many layers, is host to this year's sporting players. A howl emerges suddenly, loudly, and Howler Mumfrog appears very proudly, his tail in a curl, tightly gripping a tree, huge bulbous eyes and blue legs with bent knees. All gathered together, this vast mob of creatures, some are competitors, others are teachers, each of them eager, full of zest, to enjoy this day and try their best. With mouth wide open, again he howls, and the creatures appear with their chatter and growls, some big and furry, with tails and paws, others with feathers, bright wings and claws. Today's the day you've been training towards, a day full of action, achievements, awards, said Howler Mumfrog. A day of dreams, when you strive for success within all your teams. Who will break last year's record? He howled as the Animix creatures all heckled. Who is the fittest, strong and bold? Who will triumph and win the gold? In 5 separate teams, they made their way to a huge forest clearing prepared for the day. Each team had its own colourful ring, which they held up proudly and started to sing. At the end of the anthem, a burst of clapping, cheering, roaring, waving and flapping. The teams of red, black, blue, yellow, green were ready for action, excited and keen. Howler Mumfrog had something to say, so he howled in his usual magnificent way. A hush descended upon the crowd, and Howler spoke in a voice that was proud. To the glory of sport, good luck to you all. Play fairly, no matter how small or tall, he said, pointing to the rainforest dense. The opening ceremony's about to commence. From out of the undergrowth, 2 by 2, the synchronized coral cans came into view. Weaving and slithering, stripes and big beaks, they performed the display they'd rehearsed for weeks. Next to appear was a streak of bright blue, and the morpho glossies majestically flew. The sky was filled with colour and motion, reflections sparkling on Imagine Ocean. The show continued impressive and grand, accompanied by music from a popular band, Scorpion Rock, with its lead singer Skeagle, who looked more than usual, handsome and regal. The games began with a 100-metre dash, which started and finished with a thundering flash. The 5 competitors ran a fast race, with Jagrilla, the winner, to take the first place. Next to compete on the gymnastic beams, up in the canopy, representing their teams, Gladiator Gib swings graceful and fast. The spectators with craned necks, mouths open, aghast. Hyacinth Spinky, in a blaze of sky blue, with spectacular, beautiful movements she flew, her long tail for balance and wings to soar. Howler Mumfrog howled like never before. The creatures continued impressive and proud, the crowd of spectators awestruck and loud. The weightlifting champion, beyond all belief, was the mighty Dungfant who gasped with relief. The winner of the high jump, surprising them all, was Malagasy Slugrat with his buck teeth and drawl. In second place came Dillo Trog with his shell-like back and red eyes like a frog. With diving and swimming events underway, the creatures cooled off with the waterfall spray. Tawaki Pengotta winning the gold, saluting, then bowing, triumphant and bold. It was time for the favourite games of the day, with all of the creatures entitled to play. The creatures played hide and seek, silent and still, these camouflage players enjoying the thrill. The bright birds hid in the fruit and flowers, while stick insects perched on branches for hours. The sloths went to sleep in the trees, like normal, and jaguars in foliage, rigid and formal. Howler Monfrog swung through the layers, up high and down low he was seeking out players. When the game was over, it was getting dark. The winner, Tawny Gecko, still hiding on bark. It was time for the final event of the day. The Battle of the Stinks was underway. Who would outstink each other to victory, and whose aroma would go down in history? Lemur Stinkbird stood poised with his bloated belly, released his scent, manure-like and smelly. The Animix creatures all gasped for breath, some of them nearly choking to death. Bintrung Bug was next in line, releasing not one, but two at a time. A smell of popcorn, pungent and foul, a stench that caused Howler Monfrog to howl. The creatures assembled on the forest floor, and the Battle of Stinks was declared a draw. The medals were given to reward their glory at the close of this epic sporting story. I wonder what new creatures you would create by mixing some of these animals together in your own drawings, then name them and bring them alive in your own story.